So I also had a teacher in first grade, Sister Regina, who impacted my life and really learned about the love of God, that God loved everyone. It didn't matter who you were or what color you were or what you did for a living, God loved you. That never left me. And as I got a little bit older, as a child, I said my rosary at night, you know, because we were taught the rosary in school. I went to Catholic school. And so it kind of went for some time, knowing that God was drawing me, but yet becoming a teenager, you tend to say, let me do something else. You know, let me experience the world, when all I was looking for was peace during that time. And I know that. I knew that then. And so I had been going to a church, to the Catholic Church at that point in time. And as I got to be a young adult, I had left the church. And the Holy Spirit drew me back, but there was a group of people that were my parents' age that were getting together and praying every Wednesday. And they were charismatic Catholics. They believed in the Holy Spirit moving, praying, laying hands on one another and praying for each other. And it was just different than what happened at church. I mean, it was a different thing. And so I went from there. My kids started in Catholic school, and I wanted more in my relationship with God, and I wasn't getting fed. And I left the church that I was at because I needed to get fed, and I wasn't. And that's nothing. It's just, I lived in a town that had one church, and if I wanted to go to a different Catholic church, I was going to drive 30 or 45 minutes to that church. And with 3 little kids, that's hard to do. And so I did go to a non-denomination church in the town that I was in. And I learned about the Bible, which is something I wasn't taught in the Catholic Church, you know, that there was a Bible. They were pretty charismatic, and it was really something I was looking for. I was looking for the Holy Spirit moving. And so from there, I moved to Florida for 5 years, and I was involved with a ministry there, and moved back to to Kansas City area, because my mother needed help with my dad, who had had a stroke, and she just needed help. And so I was helping my mom with my dad was in the nursing home in Cameron. So I helped her by going every weekend and meeting her there and giving her support. And after my dad passed away, Mom just stayed in Chillicothe, which is the town I was raised in. And we, you know, when I left Florida, I was kind of lost. And so I know that I needed to be here to help my mom, and I did. I just didn't go to church. I just didn't have the time with working and trying to help her out. It was like, I don't have time for that. Yet that the Holy Spirit led me to go to several churches here, and I just didn't find a fit. And I found Holy Family, and that's where I'm at. And I don't know that it is, what I always told my friends that were not Catholic was, there's something different about the Catholic Church. I said, I have been in churches, many churches, and I know the presence of God is there. But there was something different about the Catholic Church. And I believe that's the reverence of God. And not that they weren't reverent, it was just a different, I don't know how to explain it. It's just a different presence of God. And so that's really what drew me back to the Catholic Church. I can remember as a child, and I was small, because, you know, old cars had big back windows. Well, there were 4 of us kids, and 3 of them sat in the back seat, and I crawled up in the window to look up, and I saw all these stars, and I had this thought, how could people not believe in God? You know, I mean, and nature has still been something I've loved. Listening to the trees clap their hands, you know, that does happen, and it is scriptural that the trees of the fields clap their hands, and if you don't listen, you miss it, you know, so, and I think we miss more than we see. And really, I think that is God-inspired, that those statements are God-inspired. I was a little kid. I wouldn't have thought, how could people not believe in God? You know, that was something He implanted in me that I've never forgotten. So, and I've forgotten a lot about my childhood.